right, welcome back to Off the Tap. This week is episode 65, and we're doing Southern Star Brewing Company's In the Woods.
In the Woods. I'm very tempted to say Into the Woods, but Big 6'5". I didn't realize this. That's still iconic,
Yeah,
right? I don't want to say
65, man.
iconic. Landmark, I guess, let's say.
Yeah, I feel like every 5 episodes from here on out is going to be a landmark because there's been so many episodes,
It's
you
gonna
know?
feel like 1,000.
It
No.
is. It really does. It really is going to feel like 1,000. This is a rye beer, which I have never had one of these.
I don't know how many other variations of rye there are. Obviously, this is a rye ale. I'm pretty sure I've had a bunch. We haven't even tapped into this one at all. But I'm sure I've had other variations of rye. I don't know if they were all ales or to what extent. Also, what am I? Like, what is this? 1999?
Wires,
2000?
bro? You got
Yeah.
wires over here? What are we
Sorry, the
doing?
headset decided it was taking a little vacay as we set in.
Yeah.
That's how you know that those are diehard business folks. When you see them on the roads, like the guys that still have the core, they're like, we're making it happen regardless of how ridiculous we look from a distance, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Just because I don't look like I'm a businessman doesn't mean I'm not one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I make multi-millions every year, but I've got this cord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
$6,000 suit, but they still have aftermarket AirPods,
Hey,
but they're
bro. I
corded.
mean, yeah, they're AirPods with wires. That's what everyone calls them now, right?
Whatever.
They're no longer
Yeah.
Apple earbuds. They're AirPods with wires.
Apple earbuds.
So I mean, I've had like rye whiskeys, right? And I mean, I love a rye whiskey, but
Me too.
never had a rye beer. And boy, I got to tell you, it does smell delicious though. I have them cracked open.
Ooh, I
They
haven't
smell
cracked it
great.
yet. Hey, I don't know. Is this something new that they're doing? I mean, I'll show the can in a minute. Um, but is there something new that they're doing with the Southern Star branding, like the punch on the back of the can? Because
What
I know
punch?
we've done some other. Look, I guess we could just start out with it. But do you see that? It's a shotgun shell.
Oh yeah, I've never noticed that before. So
It
I
might be
wonder.
just because this is on on the Woods can, and it's you know, like we'll talk about it a little bit, but like hunting season, maybe.
Yeah,
You know
maybe.
what I'm saying?
Maybe. Yeah, that's
That's
true.
pretty sweet.
We'll have to keep our eyes out for other Southern Star cans and see if they have it.
Also, too, because we've done a couple of other Southern Stars, but dude, it's not just bark. Huh?
Oh, oh, so that's what it is. It's bark.
Oh, duh! Like I think we all understood that
Well,
just
I
from
didn't.
a 30,000-foot view of the can. Are you
I didn't.
blind?
I listen. I
You did recently tell me you should probably get your eyes checked, but I didn't realize they were that fucking bad.
no. Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. No, it's just I just didn't put two and two together. I don't think I was really thinking about it.
You think it was some type of like dollar store brand camo or something? What the fuck did you think that was?
I thought it was like some kind of camo going on, which I guess technically it is.
I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah,
good tree bark is very good camouflage, I would
very good,
imagine.
especially if you stand like a tree.
But yeah, they have some cool things. I mean, I know you're gonna throw a snapshot up of the front of the can, but like, dude,
I'm
look,
gonna try to.
they got a beetle in there. You see it?
Oh yeah, a
And
beetle.
then they got the mouth. I
So
don't know what
what?
that is. Like,
Is that like a? It looks like a shark's mouth.
yeah, I don't
That's a
know.
little
And then they
weird.
got a little dog in there,
A little
and
puppy,
then yeah, and then obviously they go like kind of Grim
like a
Reaper-ish. That's pretty
ghost,
cool. Yeah,
like a spooky feel. I like that.
like
It does almost give me like a spooky vibe, like it should have been released in like October maybe.
you know what? And also too, when I think of if I say out loud Lord Rye Ale, I think season. I mean, I don't know. This obviously isn't. Maybe it is aligned with Halloween, but Lord Rye Ale just tells me that it's for celebration and it's
Mm-hmm.
seasonal. Might not
And
be the
it's in the
case, but
fall. Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah.
this is something. But once a year comes round for you to enjoy.
I immediately think like it's raining outside in Europe and you're near Stonehenge with a bunch of kings and knights.
Yeah, why did I listen? I at first I was like, okay, but then when you said raining, like you're right. Every time I think of Stonehenge, it's always raining.
Yeah, it's always gloomy over in
And
like the UK for some reason,
I've
Britain.
seen it in pictures where it's not, but
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But in European vacation it is
But dude,
overcast.
It is, but it also doesn't even look right. Like every time you see like one of those travel shows where people are like, "Oh, we hit Stonehenge," and it's like daylight out, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
Like that doesn't make sense.
what's going on there? The
It's got to
sun's
be
out?
overcast. The grass is all wet, and there's a light
Dewy.
mist, and everybody's like happy, but they should be miserable. That's England.
Mm, yeah. All right, I'm gonna try
Okay,
it.
I'm
It
sorry.
smells
All right,
delicious.
I'm
Am
gonna
I
do a little.
wrong?
Oh my lord! I don't know if you see the color.
Does it not smell delicious though?
It does. It smells very good. It looks like the fake
Ooh.
coins that you get at a like the fake coins that are chocolate.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
With the shitty wrappers on it. Oh, hazy enough, but clear just the same.
Ooh.
That's fucking beautiful.
Now listen again, I've never had a rye beer, so I don't, but that's a nice color
I'm gonna
regardless.
give it one more. It's strong smelling. I know you tasted. Give me a second.
So
It
it's
smells very,
5.5%.
very. No, I don't mean strong in alcohol. I mean strong in flavor. Like this is you're gonna substitute a meal or an evening to enjoy this. Is kind of how I
Oh, yeah,
feel
yeah, 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 yeah.
off a smell.
Which is very bad for me because I have eaten not only dinner but also dessert
Wow.
tonight, so
Dessert's a very rare thing. I don't even do it when we go out, honestly.
me either, but sometimes I fall victim to the ice cream.
Wow. Is there any type of guidance on the can? Or do you have any type of guidance for what it should be online? Because
Listen,
listen, I'm not mad at it, but it is not even remotely close to what I expected.
expectation. I was about to say the same thing, especially based on smell. This
Yep.
tastes nothing like it
Okay.
smells.
Because when I smelled it, I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." And not that I'm disappointed, but when I smelled it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be phenomenal." And then I drank it, and it's good, but it's not what it smells like at all.
No, not at all. It's very weird. I don't know if that's the rye in there or what, but it's because I feel like it doesn't taste like rye whiskey at
No,
all.
it's on. Well, no, I mean rye. I do. I prefer rye whiskeys over like bourbon or anything like that because they are dry and they're. I don't want to say flat, but they're maybe more sour. They just don't have any the sweetness that like a bourbon does or a Scotch.
Well, I'm getting a lot of sour in this.
I do too, but almost like a sour.
Yeah,
Like
like
too.
yeah,
Yeah, like it is a sour,
like not
not
like
a
sour bread, like sour beer is what this tastes like almost.
correct. Which maybe that's the correlation. Is like a sourdough obviously is a rye or rye bread tends to be on the sourdough front, but this is very like citrusy and very
Yeah,
sour.
it's
But it
really weird. Like
smells like a super yeasty bread.
yes, it smells very
Y-
very
There
thick.
there are very few things in life, and maybe I would say this is an example, or maybe other beers too, but like there's very few things in life where you're like, oh god, Lee, that is terrible, and it tastes good. Or you're like, oh my god, that smells like honey and roses, and then you taste it and you're like, was that a beef brisket? Like that crazy different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This has me tricked. I would have
yeah.
all day long been like, oh, that's a man. Not that this isn't, but like that's a man's man beer, like hops and sugar
From the
and
smell.
barley and generic. You know what I mean? And when I taste it, I'm like, is this a citrus sour? I would not have,
Yeah.
not even
So
remotely.
going back real quick to what we were just talking about, how it's kind of branded like maybe it should have been released in fall. It tastes nothing like fall. I
Nope,
was
not
expect
at all.
after the smell, I was expecting it to taste like fall, and it doesn't. It's very, very weird.
It
Uh,
is. I mean, like
it's not
again,
bad. Again, it's not bad. It's just weird.
I almost think that like we're giving it some ugly undertones or like
No.
preemptively being negative. It's just not what I would have thought, and not even from looking at the can, but like in the woods with the fall, with the stuff that's going on, with it being a Lord Rye Ale. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what makes it different. But anyways, a Lord Rye Ale. It's a citrusy sour that's delicious, but I was misled by the can.
Yeah. So it does say it's rye and crystal malts fermented with Hefeweizen wheat or yeast, sorry, producing banana and clone flavors tamed by earthy spiciness of the rye, copper brown in color with a creamy medium body.
I say they hit the texture and the color perfectly.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
I
really get a
don't
lot of the
know.
earthiness that they're talking about.
Nope. I get a lot of citrus, a lot of bitter, kind of like tanniny oil, like oils out of citrus notes.
I maybe get a little bit of like the banana and clone flavors.
Maybe as a finisher, clone or clove.
I mean, it says clone, but they probably mean clove.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Um, Same type of yeast as a German Hefeweizen. Basically, they're substituting the rye for some of the malted barley.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, we all know. Like I said earlier, 5.5%. No
Ooh.
IBUs listed.
So 5.5 on the can. I think what's funny is they're often called a rye IPA. I wouldn't say this is anywhere remotely close to an IPA, but
No, it's not bitter at
the
all.
the local jargon, if you are a connoisseur of the rye IPA, is to call it a rye PA.
Oh, okay.
So that's nifty.
There you go. We're getting
I
into a
can't
whole
think
new community over here.
I can't think of I know we talk about this week over week, but I can't think of any baseline or any um go to compare this to. Like I don't think in my mind I have a rye PA. See what I
Yeah,
did there
no.
using
Yeah.
the old terminology.
Yeah,
Um
I don't have a IPA either. I think how I'm gonna base this is I'm gonna base my scoring based on what I expected versus what it was.
yeah.
What I expected based on smell and what it is. We'll get like always we'll get into the ratings at the end, but again, it's weird. It's just blowing my mind. Every time I take a sip, it's like if I just smell one can, right? And then I go in and I take a sip of the other one,
Completely
my
different.
my brain is like, what's good? It's like, have you ever seen that lady on? I think it's on TikTok where she like does the quote diet, where she like smells chocolate bars and then eats broccoli.
Oh yes, yes.
That's what it's like almost.
I've seen
It's like you're tricking your brain somehow.
I've seen people do it with toddlers too, where they're just like, "Oh, do you want these grapes? Do you want these grapes? All right, peas." And they just slip them in.
Dang, that's messed up though.
um, Fun fact, as we're on the topic of the rye PA, I'm overusing the street
No,
jargon.
let's do it.
But so essentially it existed for many, many years. However, in Bavaria, rye malt, which was used for brewing beer until the 15th century, after like a period of like bad harvests where rye was like running a little thin, they were like, "Hey guys, no more making beer because people are dying because they don't have bread." So they were like, "Hey, you can't use the rye to make beer anymore. You need to make bread with it."
Uh,
So it had like a lapse of popularity, I guess, or maybe legally. They reinforced the purity laws so that nobody was using rye. So it had like a period where it kind of fell off the map. It disappeared for almost 500 years. And when I
oh
say
my
short
god.
period of time, in the grand scheme of things, short period of time. In our lifetimes, many times over, it was
Yeah.
non-existent.
7 lifetimes for us.
Yeah.
It was just gone off the face of the earth. That's crazy. So I wonder if maybe this is the resurgence. Maybe that's why they're calling it the Lord Rye Ale.
Well, what's crazy is it didn't regain popularity. So we talk about it being gone for 500 years. There was actual, so 15th century would have been 1400s. It didn't regain true mainstream popularity until the 1980s.
Whew.
So think about that. In our life, well, close to mine, in our lifetime or my lifetime, by a smidge, it regained popularity, even though from the 1400s is where it was popular, and then for 500 years it took a break because rye, the priority of rye was making bread. So yeah, I think it's making a resurgence. But I haven't, like I said, I have nothing to compare it to. I've never had another rye ale, let
Yeah, no.
alone a Lord rye.
Yeah. And again, I am enjoying it.
I
I
am
think it
too.
tastes great. It's just not what I expected based on branding, the smell, everything. Uh,
What's even crazier to
it's
me
just
is
weird.
like every time I lift it up, I smell it. and I
Mm-hmm.
think my brain is still telling me it's
That's what
gonna
I'm
taste
saying, bro.
different, and it
It's
doesn't.
it's like the chocolate broccoli girl, dude. I'm telling you, man. It's your brain. Your brain's playing tricks on you.
The old chocolate,
It's what it's
the
trying to
old.
do. So when I first saw the name of this can, for some reason, the name of this beer on the can, for some reason, I immediately thought of Alice in Wonderland. Um, because isn't I feel?
Is
I
it?
mean, she runs like she goes into the woods or whatever, right?
I mean, at some point, yeah, she chases the rabbit, if you want to call them the woods.
It's
It's
a tree,
obviously
but
a psychedelic dream that she's chasing him
yeah,
into, but yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so she chases him into there's trees, right? She sits at the Mad Hatter's table and it's surrounded by a forest of
Mm-hmm.
sorts. Is it
Yeah.
just because of the statement in the woods, or was it the look of the can? Because it does have like
You
a
know,
not caricature, but like
the
uh,
art style
a
is kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was kind of all of it. The text as well, like the way the text is written kind of reminded me of like how Alice in Wonderland is written, you know? To a degree.
Possibly.
Not exactly, but to a degree. Um but I yeah, every time I think of that movie though or that movie though, I've only seen the cartoon one first of all like a handful of times. Like maybe 3, 4 times.
Mm.
I've seen the live action one with Johnny Depp like twice, I think, maybe twice, like one and a half times. Um, and I mean, the animated one will always be better to me because that's just how I think of it. But the main thing I always think of, man, when I think of that freaking movie, is you in high school doing the play for it, man.
Ah, yes,
Every time.
the old first role ever, and it wasn't by choice; it was by voluntold.
Yeah.
Um, but small part, the king, which honestly in the movie is a very small part, as in I don't even know, I don't even remember him in the live action. In fact, whenever I was asked about it or to do it or told to do it, um, I didn't even know that like the king was a part of the show. Like everybody remembers the queen. Everybody remembers
Yeah.
obviously the main character, the Cheshire Cat, Alice, like Mad Hatter, all the crazy characters, but nobody even thinks about the king. And so the role that I had was the king. And honestly, I think what did it was I could fit the high heels
Yeah.
because I
Well,
had very baby feet.
yeah. And you were also shorter.
Yeah, shorter than the queen, obviously, than any female would have been at
Mm-hmm.
that time in high school.
Yeah.
Plus, I could make my voice very, very high at the time, and so having that being just a pansy, honestly, that's really what set the tone
Yeah.
for that taking that role. But um, no, it's a
He,
trippy. Go ahead.
he does have like such a tiny role because I'm pretty sure like even in the cartoon it's like 3 lines that he says anything, and the rest is just him like standing there if he's even in frame.
Yeah, I think basically his whole purpose is to reinforce the fact that the queen is head bitch in charge. Like
Yeah,
that's he only exists in the scene for everyone to know, oh, he's about to get it because the queen's here.
and I don't even remember him in the live action one. Again, I've only seen it once though, like
Uh,
once or twice.
I don't think I've ever seen the I've seen the clips of Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter, but I've never seen the live action, so I don't know. He plays a role when they're doing the thing with like the cards and the croquet match, and then
Yeah.
he's in court. I think when Alice is in court or whatever, at least in the animated version and in the play, he's basically the one of the lawyers or whatever. But yeah, very very small role, very crazy concept. Um, and I'd still
And
never read the Looking Glass, but yeah.
you never read The Looking Glass?
No, I never did.
I don't think they made that a live action one too.
No, Into the Looking Glass is actually what Alice in Wonderland is based off of more closely than the actual Alice in Wonderland, the way that I understand it. It's Alice into the Looking. We're gonna Google it so that my words don't get fumbled, but
But they
continue
made
on.
didn't they make 2 of them live action? Like they made Alice in Wonderland and then they made Into the Looking Glass.
Mm, possibly, but I have no idea.
I don't know.
Um,
Like I said, I
what
don't.
I'm Googling is not right. Through the Looking Glass.
Through the Looking Glass. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I only saw the cartoon one like even 4 times, maybe 5 times, because it was the only Disney movie growing up that we didn't have on VHS.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, by the way, just to clarify, Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There is the sequel to Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
Um, but I think some of the pieces were fused together to create the film.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I for the longest time didn't even realize that it was a Disney film at all. Well, obviously Lewis Carroll wrote it. It was like purchased from back. It wasn't like Disney thought the concept up like they do with most movies now. The story was taken from somewhere else, but I didn't even realize that it was a Disney film at all because that was the only one we didn't have for the
Yeah.
most part. I think there might have been a
Well,
few.
the
If
big
there was another one
blockbuster
you could think of.
ones.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Another one I could think, dude, I couldn't. From that time period,
We had just a massive collection of like
I mean, we
the
had all the
big,
classics.
the crunchy plastic
Yeah, dude,
collectibles.
we even so man, yeah, we even had like the gold edition Cinderella, I'm pretty sure, which is worth like a crap ton of money now.
I just remember like we had even the ones that were shitty. I think I brought this up before, maybe even on pod, but we had Fantasia, which is to me
Yeah,
was a fucking waste.
horrible.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of the other ones that we didn't have. Oh, you know what we didn't have? We didn't have the Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, no, we
Nope.
didn't. You're
We
right.
did not have the Sword in the Stone. We didn't have Alice in Wonderland, and I
You know,
remember those being two. Go ahead.
we did have the what was it called? The Bookmaster though?
Mm.
Was that Disney?
The Page Master, and I don't
Page
think it was.
Master. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin, the Page
I
Master.
could have sworn that was Disney, but it just looked
Um,
like a Disney title, I
I'm gonna
guess.
I'm gonna clarify. It was in the same type of case, but I don't think it was.
Uh,
1994. I thought it would have been older than that.
I can't. I
Yeah, keep
can't.
going.
I can't think of another one we didn't have, just because like all the ones we did have are my favorites. You know what I mean? Except for Fantasia. That's true. I only watched Fantasia one time, I'm pretty sure, and I couldn't tell you anything that happened in it to
It's like
this
a
day.
musical with like all of the big greats in it.
Yeah,
It's
with
like they
like Mickey
took the
Mouse and all
Mickey.
them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I remember him being in it, but I was like, yeah. You know what we didn't have?
Yeah.
A Goofy movie.
No,
But
but that would have been way later.
that was, I mean, that
And
was like 2000s, I think, but still, we didn't have it.
no, bro, it would have been like late 90s. I might call you out on
Well,
this. By
well,
the
I
way,
mean, like it wasn't like the other ones. That's what I'm saying. Like it was like
oh, from like the
close to
70s
the
and the 90s.
2000s. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It would have been mid 90s. I would have said like 95. Actually, probably about the same time as The Page Master. The Page Master, by the way, was 20th Century Studios. But
Okay.
solid movie. Solid movie.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But yeah, dude, we made the kids watch a Goofy movie the other day.
yeah. We didn't. We never had that one.
There
But
was also
that's not
a
a
very
classic
Goofy
though.
movie.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, a Goofy movie was 1995.
Okay. So yeah, we didn't have that one.
No, we didn't have that one. We didn't have Sword in the Stone. And like I remember like talking to people and I'd be like, "What's your favorite Disney movie?" And they'd be like, "Sword in the Stone." And I'd be like, "Bro, it's not even a Disney movie." And they're like, "Yeah, it is." And I'm like, "Bullshit, we have them all." And they were like, "Well, it's a Disney movie." And I'm like, "Well, it can't be because we don't have it."
Yeah,
Like
because we don't
in
have
my
it.
mind,
What we had was
fundamentally,
the
it
yeah.
wasn't the
Did
fucking
we have
yeah.
Hercules?
I don't think so because that would have been still like
Man,
97, 98. We had all the
no, no way that
classics.
was that late.
Oh yeah, 97, 98
Hercules?
for sure. Oh yeah, man. That was old. Or
No
I mean,
way, dude.
yeah, the animated
No.
Hercules Disney film. Um Hold on. It might not even have been Disney, or was
Oh,
it?
it's Disney. Yeah, I watched it on Disney Plus the other day, bro. What are you talking about?
Okay. Let me circle back. Hercules film animated. Well, I broke the cardinal rule because I didn't search through Google. I'm using
Uh,
Bing.
we're gonna be here for
So
hours, folks. We're gonna be here for hours.
1997. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. That
My
was way
God.
after.
I mean, I guess I was 1 years old when that came out, so I wouldn't have known a difference. But It seems like very much like the same art style as the older ones to me. That's why I was
I would say it was the last. Well,
curious.
I don't know. They did the who did I don't even know if it's Disney, but the Emperor's New Groove.
That was Disney.
Is it?
Yeah.
How do you know? You recently watched that one too? Why the fuck? Let's back up a second. Why the hell did you watch the animated Hercules on Disney recently?
Why not, bro? When in Rome, brother.
I mean, I guess, yeah, 2000 was the Emperor's New Groove. I would
Yeah.
say that's the cutoff for the old style animation, regardless of technology. That's when
Yeah,
they were
I
like, all
agree.
right, no more throwbacks. I haven't sought out, such as yourself, to see Hercules and or the Emperor's New Groove as of late, but big fan of the cast and all of the I don't want to say like the
Yeah.
hidden little adult gems.
And
Those
Emperor's
are
New
solid.
Groove
Well,
or
and
any of
Hercules
them.
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I would say
Yeah.
they're probably more prevalent. I think Emperor's New Groove. I don't want to get. I know we didn't have any intent in digging this trench, but I think the Emperor's New Groove really was the last of the old school animation. But it also set the pace for like, hey, we need to entertain parents with like innuendos and
Hmm.
like I don't want to say sexual, but like with
And
like dirty undertones that children also find funny because maybe they're physical or whatever the case may be. I mean,
and
Disney's been planting them for years, but
yeah, and cast, I think. They
yes,
really because you cast David Spade as the lead in a children's cartoon, it's going to draw parents are going to be like, "Yeah, we can go watch that."
yeah, like but John Goodman
Oh yeah, I
too,
mean, yeah, he's not the only one. That's I don't ever remember his name, but he does the voice for a lot of animated stuff now. I think.
Patrick Warburton. That's
Yeah,
who you're thinking of.
yes,
Yep,
yeah. He plays Joe on Family Guy, right?
yep.
Yeah, yeah. Great cast, great movie. Um, but yeah, I couldn't tell you another one of the classics we missed out on though, man. I mean, we had Cinderella, we had Snow White. Which they're have you seen this? They're remaking Snow White and Seven Dwarfs live action, but they've casted
I have
no little people as the dwarves. It's all
Snow White and the normal sized grown men.
yeah, and like
Sounds like a disaster for a book that's going to come out many
that's
years
what I'm
later.
saying, bro. I mean, come on, bro. Why are we changing it up? They're not being made fun of in the story. They just each have their
No.
own quirks.
If anything, I think you play to their strengths and honor their weaknesses.
Yeah, don't they literally like help her live?
Yeah, I don't really remember how they say. Yeah, I mean they do. Obviously, they take care of her. I don't know if you would say save her life, but it's like Grumpy's grumpy, but like he's good at other things.
Yeah,
Sleepy, but he's good for other things.
yeah. It's like it was like
Um,
Smurfs before the Smurfs were a thing.
yeah, it's crazy you say that because immediately I was like, I don't know about that, but you're right. They were
I
definitely
just mean like
Snow White's old as shit. Yeah,
the
no, I know.
characteristics. Like there's literally a Smurf named Grumpy
Dude, I
and a
think
Smurf named Sleepy.
I know we've answered this before. What was the first Disney movie?
The first
That was
ever
it.
Disney movie was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah. Dude,
Really?
yeah, just ballpark. I'm pretty sure I knew that. I think Peter Pan was, or excuse me, not Peter Pan. I think Robin Hood or Peter Pan was close thereafter. Okay, I'm gonna look. First off, give me a. Damn it! I need to go to Google because this is terrible. All right. Uh. Okay. So first off, we're gonna do. Um. What year do you think that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was?
1947.
Okay. So pretty close, but you missed it by 10 years. 1937.
Okay. I knew it was pretty early.
So I was wrong, but what do you think? Like, name another one you think is really old school. So Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the first film to be distributed by what became Disney. Um, what else do you think is in that same category?
What's one
Oh,
of the beginning ones, you mean?
yeah, there's a few that we didn't have. But yeah, go ahead.
I know Robin Hood is an old one.
Not even. I mean,
No,
it's close, but not that close.
Jungle
Dude,
Book.
Robin Hood? No, bro.
It's got to be. It's another princess one, right? It has to be another princess one.
Well, oh my
Or are we
God,
talking
dude.
like Mickey Mouse stuff? Because I don't know any Mickey Mouse stuff.
Hold on. I need to find when Robin Hood. Holy shit. Robin Hood was 1973.
That's way later.
So a lot of years went by. Dude, here we go. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'm just gonna give you like the top five.
Like,
Snow
give
White
me
and the
give
Seven
me the
Dwarfs.
second one, and then let me see if I can guess another one.
Number two,
Okay.
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always forget about Pinocchio, dude.
Yeah, I do too. And you can tell from
Oh,
like how it's not so much the animation, it's just how grainy that shit is. Like even
yeah,
remastered, you're like, what the fuck?
yeah. I was
They
never a
were
big fan of Pinocchio, really. I mean, I didn't hate
yeah,
it, but
it's hard to follow along. I tried to get the kids to watch it the other day and like there's big lulls where they lose interest. So
yeah.
all
All
right,
right,
so
another
you got Snow
one.
White, you got Pinocchio.
Cinderella, man.
Not even close.
All right, let's just read them out. I can't
But
guess
there's
this.
shit you're not Fantasia is number three.
Okay, that's why it sucks so much.
I agree. The Reluctant Dragon? I've never even heard of
I don't know.
that.
I don't know that one.
And then five, which is another one we didn't have, Dumbo.
We had Dumbo, but not the animated one.
Yeah, that's not a thing. Like the live action would have been
Yeah, it
2000s.
was like 2002 or something. I think 2003.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't have
Um
Dumbo.
I
That's
mean
true.
obviously I didn't expect us to have all of them, but like oh, here's the thing. So we didn't have like then they're like Bambi we did have. We never watched it. I did never watch it. Um Three
There-
Caballeros. I've
Okay.
seen it, but I've never. There's a bunch of them that were mixed in there. Obviously, not all Disney hits were hits. Okay,
Yeah.
um, but I'll tell you one that I really did love was The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Did you ever see that?
No.
Killer, and it was like a different style of animation, um, almost like what do you call it? Like, man, it's not like claymation, but it was like stop animation. Is that a
Oh
thing?
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
that. No, Cinderella would have been 1950, so like a good 13 years afterwards. I mean, but dude, Peter Pan was in there. The story of Robin Hood was 1951, but the
Di-
Robin Hood we know was 1972.
Disney's Robin Hood wasn't.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Bro, there's all kinds of killers in here that I wouldn't have ever thought of. Old Yeller was a Disney, but live action, obviously.
Yeah, that's not an animated though.
Yeah. I don't know how we could
What
go
about
on forever.
where's the Fox and the Hound?
Oh, bro, that would have been 90s, I believe.
You think?
Maybe late
Yeah,
80s.
it's not as grainy. Yeah, you're probably right.
Oh, dude, that's a killer film.
The Fox and the
Um,
Hound. Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's
Fox
in
and the Hound.
that's in my top 3 favorite Disney movies probably. It's definitely on my
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore of my top 4.
Oh yeah, for sure. The Fox and the Hound. Oh no, I was way off. 1981.
So still later though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think if I had to pick a favorite though, it would like my number one all-time favorite animated Disney movie of all time is Robin Hood. I fucking love Robin Hood.
I'm
And
big
it
fan.
and it
Huge fan.
sucked because the VHS we had for it was messed up at the last 15 minutes. So you would get to the point where he's hiding in the pond with the straw,
Yeah.
and then it would, and that was it. That was the end of the movie. So I never
Man,
got to finish it. But I always
did he
forget
live or
how,
die?
yeah, we don't know, man. But I always forget how short it is, dude. It's
What
such
do
a
you mean how
short,
short?
it's a short movie. I mean, they probably all are, like, but you know, like by today's standards, a movie is like an hour and a half, right? Mostly like 2 hours, right?
No. I would
By
say
today's standards,
movies now are like 2 hours.
yeah. Okay, well, let's say in the 2000s when we're watching a lot
I
of
think
VHSs.
I
We're
think
talking an
I think
hour
I'm
and a
actually
half.
confirming your point. I'm confirming your point with the fact that reality is these days it's 2 hours. But carry
Yeah,
on.
and like Google for me real quick the runtime of Robin Hood because I feel like it's like maybe an hour.
No, an hour and 33 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I watched it last year because I was like, man, I haven't seen Robin Hood in a long time, and I fucking love it. So I went back and watched it, and I felt like it ended so quick. Like I
Yeah,
felt like it was literally an hour.
maybe because it's so damn enjoyable.
Maybe because time flies when you're having fun, you know?
I just love the rooster, Roger Miller.
Oh yeah,
Beep, beep. Yeah.
dude, the guitar just riding around.
Yeah.
Robin Hood, Little John.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oodle lally, golly, what a
A
day.
day. Yeah. Oh man, it always reminded me of the what was the rooster like cartoon when we were growing up? When they're
Foghorn Leghorn?
yeah, I think that's it. They
Yeah.
always reminded me of each other just simply because they're both roosters. That's no other
I mean,
correlation.
they had one thing in common.
Yeah, they were probably family members or a descendant of one another.
Dude, there's so many. I would have never thought. Like, okay, here one last thing and then we can obviously move on, but so think about the Jungle Book, all
Mm-hmm.
right? 1967. All right? I don't think it's that crazy in how it's written, how it's animated, how it comes to life than something like Alice in Wonderland that was 1951.
You mean like the craziness of it?
No, I'm just saying like the colors, the animation, the scene changes, the writing. You think the Jungle Book is that crazy different than Alice in Wonderland in quality?
I would say color wise, Alice in Wonderland was very colorful.
In a bad way?
No, I'm just saying it was very
Okay.
different and like
All right, then let's use Peter Pan versus the Jungle Book.
okay.
Like in quality of picture, if you saw Peter
Oh
Pan
yeah, no.
and
I
then
would
you
a-
saw the Jungle Book, would you be like, "Oh, these came out the same year"?
I would actually probably think Peter Pan came out later, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, so 1953.
Yeah.
15 years before um yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't realize Peter Pan was that old of a story. You know what's
And
wild
and my
is
math is absolutely fucking terrible. Uh 13 years.
well, that's fine. Close enough. Um like people have been talking a lot recently cuz Disney just did a Peter Pan movie live action,
Yeah.
right? And it was received very poorly, but here's my thing is like why is why is Disney trying to do it? I mean, I get it for money, I guess, but like, why are they trying to do it when it was already done in the early 2000s, man? Somebody
I
already
don't
made a live action Peter Pan. In fact, there was two of them. There was
I
one
don't
that was the actual kid Peter Pan, and then there was one with Robin Williams, brother.
Yeah, well, by the way, you were way off with early 2000s. Hook would have been early 90s, I believe.
Well,
But
I
yeah.
think the other Peter Pan, the one that's actually called Peter Pan, I think was like 2003 or something.
Yeah, also I just don't think of I think so many Disney films are too iconic to be live action. You know what I mean? We need them
Yeah.
animated. We need them characters. We need them cartoons for a reason. Their storylines and their capabilities are outlandish, too outlandish to be
I'll tell
human.
you what, brother. I nailed Peter Pan live action on the dot, bro.
2003?
2003, man.
I haven't
Wow.
seen it.
Oh,
Um,
dude, yeah, you have. 100% you've seen it. There's no way you
Now,
haven't.
highly unlikely.
There's no way you haven't seen it.
Highly unlikely. I would bet all of everything I've ever earned to this day and more moving forward.
Mm. But you were right. Hook came out in 1991.
Yeah. Peter Pan 2003.
Yeah.
Oh, not 1953. Mother of Lord. I guess my numlock. That's the problem.
Yeah. I just don't know why they felt like they had to do a Peter Pan and Wendy is what the newest one is called, and I'm like, they already killed it with the. I don't even think Disney was the one that did the other Peter Pan though. Which is it not a is Peter Pan not a Disney licensed story?
No, the book was written by somebody else. I would imagine.
Okay.
Peter Pan 2003. Oh yeah, definitely not. Not even close.
Bro, no way you haven't seen that.
Never.
Anyways,
Um,
I'll tell you what, man. This movie got a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Anytime a movie gets below a 82 on Rotten Tomatoes, I know it's going to be a banger.
really?
Yeah.
Because what I just read in the three reviews, very briefly, was that it was absolutely terrible, and the world
No,
seems to think the
dude.
same. But also,
No.
dude, I listen. I'm not calling you out. I don't really want to like bring everybody's attention to this, but like, you have pretty terrible taste in films. So like, if you love it under 80,
Can you give me a reason why you want to tell me that right now?
the Pink Panther,
I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's fucking hilarious.
Master of Disguise.
Horrible movie, but hilarious.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just saying, there's a
Just
lot of films that
dumb
you
comedy.
absolutely love that are terrible. So it's
Absolute
hard.
dumb
It's
comedy,
grain of
dude.
salt. Grain of salt.
Dumb comedy gets me no matter what, dude. That's how it's just gonna be. That doesn't mean that the movie is good, okay? There's a difference.
Okay, okay, all right. Well, if it
And
was
I'm
good,
listen.
maybe I'll have to go watch it.
I'm not sitting here saying that the live action Peter Pan from 2003 is a groundbreaking, great movie, right? It's
It
children.
doesn't have to be.
The acting isn't great, but it's a good representation of the cartoon from back in the day. It's done very well, is what I
Oh,
mean.
well then, dude, listen, respect. I get it, man. I just, when you're like, hey, you need to go see this. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it's really worth it.
Wow. Okay, this is good to
I'm just
know.
sorry. I mean,
I'm gonna stop
it's
giving you recommendations then. You know.
good. That would help me out. Probably
All
make
right.
my evenings a lot better. But
Okay.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is also a Disney flick. I didn't realize that.
We never had that one either, and I always wanted to watch that. I mean, I've
We
seen it, but we rented it a couple times, I
Yeah,
think.
that's what I was gonna say. I remember that was our rental. This was like,
Yeah.
hey, you want to see? I'll never forget that scene where they're eating like the is it like a oh it's an oatmeal cream pie. You remember that?
Oh,
You ever remember?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the grass and the kid's wearing his cool Bluetooth. I mean, they're not Bluetooth. It's just a radio headset, and he's
Mm.
cutting the grass or whatever. Um, I'll never forget it. Yeah, we didn't have Honey I Shrunk the Kids, and so we would rent
It
it.
was one that we rented multiple times. I remember that for sure.
I,
Do you have a favorite Disney?
yeah, mine's always been The Great Mouse Detective.
When did that one come out? Because that
I
one
would
is a banger.
I would say in the 80s. It has 80s vibes.
Well,
I
for
try to think
sure.
about all the references. Like me and Katie do this a lot whenever we're like, when did that movie come out? And we think about the references in the movie and we're like, oh, well, it has to be after this time, but based on this, it has to be before this time. Um,
For those that 19 what?
1986.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very 80s movie for sure. It's
Yeah.
for those that because I feel like it's kind of an obscure Disney movie. Like not a lot of people have seen it or heard of it.
Yeah. It was also kind of scary.
It was. It
A
still
little
kind of
bit,
is low
at
key.
least for small kids. Yeah. I mean, there's some
No,
crazy concepts in it. Like,
there's some creepy art in that movie, man.
not that Disney didn't always press the envelope, but like they were playing around with a lot of mental illnesses in that movie that
Oh
people were
yeah.
suffering from. So
But I mean, like even like
it was,
some like the shadows and stuff that they do in that movie,
oh yeah, dude,
kind
the
of creepy,
monkey
man.
just in
Yeah.
general. I mean, sorry, the bat, not a
The
monkey.
bats, yeah,
The
not
bat just in general. Yeah, it's trippy, but The Great Mouse Detective, 1986. Go check it out.
yeah. It's kind of Disney's animated play on a Sherlock Holmes type deal.
Yeah.
Very
Elementary,
good.
my dear Dawson.
Yeah. Um,
Um, yeah,
I
but there was. Go ahead.
I think that The Great Mouse Detective makes it on my Mount Rushmore as well. I think I got to
Yeah.
go Robin Hood, Fox and the Hound, Gray Mouse Detective, and then for me, probably Jungle Book.
Okay. So,
Is the Lion King? Lion King's Disney, right?
hell yeah, that's my
Yeah,
fourth.
I
That's
think
my
I
fourth.
think I would put that in over Jungle Book actually. Now that I'm
But
thinking
that was
about
at
it,
a different time.
it was, but still, it's so good.
I
Everything
think
about
aside
it.
from, I'm pretty sure aside from Frozen, it's the number two
Disney
grossing
movie.
Disney film of all time.
I'd
Which
imagine.
that's an argument for a different day. But real quick, you want to talk about live actions? The OG at first ever, I believe, aside from like the shit that was happening back when like our parents were toddling, and when Disney was around. But the first live action movie that I liked and it got terrible ratings, I would say probably equivalent to what you would consider a great film, would was the original live action Jungle Book.
Oh, okay. Wait. I don't think I saw that.
Oh, dude, it is not that great, but I just remember him fighting the snake in this water when he's in like the monkey cavern or whatever. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say go just if you're googling right now, I'll look it up. But
There was
original live action Jungle Book. Go ahead.
there was a original live because they redid it in like 2017 or something.
Oh yeah, and that one was good. Yeah, the original live action Jungle Book was in 1994.
What?
Yeah, dude,
How
and
did
it's
I
killer.
never know about this?
Mowgli looks like he is like a fucking jujitsu, like Hoist Gracie ring octagon fighter, just ripped as shit though. And he's like not even close to being a boy. He's
Just
at
a
best in
man.
his young 30s. Yeah. But
Has a beard.
dude, he's killing it later on in the film. But yeah, he's just killing it. But he fights this snake in this one that iconic scene where he goes into the I can't think of it, but where the monkeys are or whatever. And he falls into this like gold pit of water and he fights like an anaconda or the equivalent of an anaconda. But it's like a real anaconda because he's a real person. Also does not speak, I don't think, the whole film. Ever.
Probably because they couldn't get his voice pitched high enough to make it sound right.
Doubtful. Like they would have cut to the scene, they'd be like, what do you think of this, Mowgli? And he would have been like, I mean, I pay my taxes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so check it out.
Hey man, I did my hunt this morning. You
I
know.
mean, y'all think y'all raising me, but I've been on these streets. You're like that's how you would have throw it through it now. But yeah, start Jason Scott Lee. Like, I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy. I had no idea that there was another one.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else also just because she was like my first crush, right, growing up. Um just weird to say about an animated character, but that happens, you know. Uh Ariel, dude, The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I don't it doesn't make my my Mount Rushmore, but that's a good Disney movie.
Oh yeah, Katie loves it. The kids like it because of the songs. I think it's iconic. What's crazy is that one is, in the grand scheme of things, fairly recent. 1989.
Out or The Little Mermaid?
Yeah,
Wow. I mean
1989.
that
It
made
seems
that
old.
well,
I
I
mean, no,
don't
no, no. The film itself is obviously significantly newer than a lot of the other ones,
yeah.
but it's so iconic that it seems like it belongs with the
Yeah,
classics.
it seems like
Like
it should be down there.
you could throw on Robin Hood and then Little Mermaid, and you're like, yeah, they play in the same ballpark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
story wise and whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It
There
is
was a
good
point I
though.
was gonna. Oh, Rushmore. Yeah, Lion King. Lion King is my Mount Rushmore.
So what was your four?
So I have the Fox and the Hound, the Great Mouse Detective, the Lion King, and Robin Hood. Those are my
Oh,
four.
so the same four.
Yeah, damn
Yeah.
near. There's the only problem that I have with the Fox. Like if we overall with the Fox and the Hound, and this is just a personal preference. I can make all of the references to Robin Hood. People get them. So I feel like films that should be on the Mount Rushmore are either infinitely quotable or no one has a clue. Okay.
Yeah.
And Robin Hood, infinitely quotable. Everybody understands exactly when you make a Robin Hood reference. The Great Mouse Detective, very few people. Okay, get that. Um, the Fox and the Hound, it's like 50-50, you know?
Yeah.
Also killer cast too, dude. Kurt Russell,
Oh yeah.
dude. Also, who was the kid like super popular in the 80s? He did all the, I think maybe he was, no, he wasn't part of the Goonies, but he was one of the Coreys. You know what I'm talking about? Not Corey Haim, but shit. Anyways, we've gone. This has been a Disney episode. I apologize. In the woods.
Well, I mean, that's what happens. We always plan out like 8 topics and then we only use 2 of them.
Okay, well, carry on. Onward.
Onward. No, I want to get this last piece for you because we need to wrap up here in a minute. What is you're talking about? He was in The Fox and the Hound. He did one of the voices in Fox and the Hound.
Yeah, he was Copper, but as a kid.
Okay.
Fox and the Hound Wikipedia. Hold on.
Because I get like I love The Fox and the Hound, right? It's a great show, but the best character is the woodpecker.
Corey Feld. Oh yeah, Corey Feldman.
Corey
You know who that
Feldman.
is? Corey
It
Feldman.
sounds really familiar.
What's his biggest movie of all time? Ah, you've seen it. He was in Friday the 13th. He was in Stand By Me,
Okay.
okay, with River, R.I.P. River Phoenix. He was in The Lost Boys.
Yeah, he was in the Goonies.
He was in The Goonies?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if he was in The Goonies. Yeah, he was in The Goonies. Okay. Yeah, so he played Copper, but as a child, obviously, because Kurt Russell was
Wow.
the grown-up Copper.
Right. Which is an incredible. That could not have been casted better.
Oh no, yeah, for
Kurt
sure.
Russell as grown up hunting dog,
Super
bro.
super confident, but also understands, hey, there's risk. We don't always know every situation. But it just
No.
blows my mind that Corey Feldman said the iconic. That's what we're supposed to do when we found what we've been tracking. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's
Yeah.
iconic.
It is.
Anyways, so we close that. We close that one out.
Yep. It is time for us to get into the WWYBDs. I'm gonna let you go first, man.
Right. Hold on. Give me one little section. Also, you're not getting a poem this week.
Oh, well, that's fine. We did a lot of Googling this episode, so
WWYBD on this one.
yeah.
This to me is and no disrespect because I do like it, but this to me is something. Have you ever gone to like a pour house or a tap house where you have like the card and you pour by the ounce?
Yes.
This would be my go-to in a tap house if I was a regular and everyone else, it was their first time. So, like, if I was inviting a group of people to a particular tap house and this was there, I would drink this the whole night as they figured out what the fuck they were trying to do. Only because it's bitter. It's a, for me, it's a sour. No offense,
Yeah,
but it's a
it's
sour.
yeah, I agree.
So it keeps me refreshed enough throughout the evening, but it has more flavor or it has more fulfillment. Maybe it's the body piece than a standard sour would. So yeah, this is my tap house um, go-to pint. I might venture off, take a dabble here, take a dabble there, a couple of ounces here or there, but this is
That's
my staple in a tap house.
okay. Yeah, that's pretty solid. So I was gonna say for me, I think I've mentioned, I think I mentioned actually last week on the podcast that we have a bar in our backyard, basically.
Yeah.
I've said it a couple times before. I'm pretty sure, but to me, this is my backyard bar beer. Like this is, I'm gonna have these out there, and it's gonna be my sipper. You know what I mean? I really agree with you in the sense of like I would sit and drink a lot of these. You know,
Yeah.
um, because you feel like you can. Again, I agree. And maybe that's just what rye beers are. Maybe they are sour. Like maybe this is the,
Well,
I don't know. I've never had another one. So
I mean,
it's
it
a
makes
learning
a lot of
experience.
sense if you think about the way that they create whiskeys or the way they interact with whiskeys.
Hmm.
Um, because again, I'm anti. I've said this a million times. You're exhausted. So is everyone else at hearing this. I'm just not a sweet guy unless it's a cobbler. But I'm not when it comes to drinks or when it comes to alcoholic beverages or anything. It's coffee. I want it bitter. Whiskey. I want it bitter. Anything that I drink, I want it bitter. I can't even do like remotely half-ass sweet beers. Um, and that's how rye is for whiskey, and I feel like it does the same thing for the beer. Maybe that's what's giving it that citrusy, soury taste, because that's how rye works in a wort versus as the base of a whiskey or whatever. That's, by the way, also too, it's probably harder to incorporate a rye and hide and or enhance its flavors in a beer like it would be in a whiskey. I know that there's like generation after generation that's like, oh well, we let this whiskey sit in this barrel for this many years and this barrel for this many years. At the end of the day, the alcohol content is so high that there's flaws. I feel I'm not a connoisseur and I don't want to fucking offend anybody, but there's so many things that could be hidden because of the alcohol content, especially of rye whiskey, which has a tendency to be higher. I don't
Hmm.
think you can do that in beer. You get a little more true rye in a beer
Yeah.
because it's
It's,
more flavor than it is alcohol.
well, and it's probably
Shade.
not fermenting as long either.
No, not well, not even remotely close.
Yeah,
Beer's
right.
what, couple of months at max, I would
And
say.
whiskey's
Whereas
years.
whiskey's like, I don't know, it's been in there 15, 20 years. It'll be ready in
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. It's been fermenting in there since before I was born.
Yeah, that's a topic for a different day. Can you imagine being like, hey, we got a 30-year going, and then you crack it and be like,
This
wait,
sucks.
yeah, wait, you guys just filled these up with water? What the fuck?
Oh
You know what I
god,
mean?
yeah, that would suck. That would suck big time. But yeah,
Anyways,
so it's a
rye comes
sipper.
through and I like it.
Yeah, but it's a sipper. Um,
Oh, yeah.
it's a long night beer for sure. I can agree with that. I feel like I do agree. I do still think that it would become filling after a while, though.
Yeah, I would say that too. We obviously don't have all of the nutrition facts or stats on it, but yeah, I can say after having two, um, based on the 5.5%, the alcohol is not the issue, it's the weight.
Yeah.
You're carrying it with you.
And also, we're assuming that this is a limited release, right? We have to assume that because it's not
Well,
listed on their website anywhere. Um, so
I've also had a lot of Southern Star and their staples. I know we always RIP. Their OG Amber is no longer around, but
yeah. Rest in peace.
the bombshells here all the time. Like Southern Star has become a force to be reckoned with, kind of
Pretty much,
in at least North Houston.
yeah, Houston area, I would say.
And so yeah, I've never seen this one even. Yeah, that's why we picked it up.
Mm-hmm. All right, we need to get into the ratings. I can go first for this one since you did the WWYBD
Oh,
first.
yeah, okay, that's convenient. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, again, I've never had a rye, so a lot of these I've just kind of left at like the middle of the road because I don't really know. But some of them I based on smell and how it went down. Entry, I have a 3, and aftertaste, I have a 3. It's pretty much it goes in the same way that it ends, basically. For me, body, I have it at a 3. I think it tastes great. I really genuinely love it. But I don't know what a rye is, so I can't say that it's one of the best things. You know what I mean? I don't know. Um, color, I have it a 6. I think it was spot on what they wanted.
Yeah.
After reading that they wanted it copper, boy was it copper. Bitterness, I have it a 3 again, only because I don't know what a rye is supposed to be like. I guess what we looked up, that said they almost kind of IPA it. They say it's almost like an IPA,
Right.
which
Yeah.
which this is not. So you could probably drop that score a little, but I'm gonna leave it at a 3. Um, acidity, I have it a 1 because it is very fruity,
Yeah,
and I don't
dude.
expect. That's the one that I really went off of the smell and the flavor after I tasted. So It's not at all what it smells like, so it's getting a 1 there. But fizz, I do have it at a 5. I've been burping a lot this episode, and because it is a good tasting beer, the flavor of the burps has been delicious for me. I'm sure they smell horrendous, but they taste very great for me.
I mean, what's a good burp if not everyone gets to enjoy it? So,
Exactly, man. I don't get to enjoy the bad faces. So that brings my total to a 24, um, which is, you know, it's lower than what I would want to give it because I do enjoy it a lot. But it's not what I expected based on smell, and I don't know a lot about ryes, so that's where
dude,
we're at.
for mind blowing. Obviously, this being my first rye ever, we used different formulas but got the same answer. So
Really,
wrong equation equals right answer. So I kind of went in with a very similar mindset. I went in with like I don't know what a rye is, but like based on my enjoyment of it, and I kind of made some like if I would have had some others, what could be the up or what could be the down. Does that make
yeah,
sense? Okay,
yeah,
so I went in entry wise. I went in with a 4, slightly above your 3. Aftertaste 4. Start solid, in solid. Honestly, I could have maybe take some points off for entry because it is a shell shock from what it
it
smells like.
is, man, it is.
Um, but it tastes good when it comes in and it
Yeah.
stays consistent and it finishes different, but yet again, still good. So entry 4, aftertaste 4. Body, I have it a 4 because I do feel like it was a little more than probably what your standard. I know this is terrible, but like cheap shit beer is like water, and then like there's no knock on like Miller Lite or whatever, but like random like a Miller Lite's a 3. Is it mind-blowingly great? No, but it's fit like it's decently filling whatever.
Yeah.
This has more body than that, so I gave it a 4. I'm comparing it to something different. I'm breaking my own rules, but nonetheless,
So
that's
it's
how
what
I
we
think of
have
it.
to do right now. So it's what we have to do.
Exactly. Color, I have it at a 5. Like honestly, when you said 6, I was like, dude, I had it at a 6 when I first I always make my original as soon as it touches the lips. I dialed it back only because it's the only one I've seen. So
Right.
in by definition and when I poured it, it's fucking beautiful. I put it at a 5, but there might be that unicorn out there that beats it. So I kept it at a 5th. No offense to the actual beer itself. It's just I'm the one that's drinking it, having never had a foundation to build upon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Bitterness, I have it a 4. I think like we went through the IPA talk. Just the way that I liked it, I had it at a 4. Acidity, same thing. I had it at a 1. I don't know in my mind whenever I take it in, whenever I taste it, like that's where I should rate it. Because I feel like it does have too much soury bitteriness that shouldn't come with it, even though I've never had one. I could do a little less acidity would be better for me.
It's just
And
based
then
on the smell, man. It's just the smell. Like
yeah, you're
that's
right
what that scored. That's why it dropped so hard for me.
because you weren't expecting it to have that
Yes.
acidic
Yeah.
bite. Well, for me, it's because I do enjoy it. It goes down good. The burps have been okay. It's fine, but it's sitting here,
Mm.
and I know that it's living here. Therefore, that's an acidity play. And then fizz, I have it a 2. I didn't have like you said you had some good burps. Like I've had maybe one, and maybe that's where my between acidity and fizz, either I'm getting more fizz score for better burps in the way that it sits, or I'm getting more acidity once it flushes itself out. But nonetheless, I end up at a 24.
Wow. So never had a rye beer before, and we come out on the same side here, score
Like I
wise.
said, different formulas, different.
Still all pretty close though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean these scores are very subject to change at some point. If we're able to get our hands on some more rye beer and see, tip the scales one way or the other, because I'm very interested. We need to try to find some now because I'm
I mean,
very interested on the different flavor profiles we got going on.
I would definitely like if it's limited and you can get to Southern Star, by all means, I
Oh
would
yes,
definitely try it.
yeah,
And if you find it canned, I would go out and get it. Um, and it's something that I would recommend. But the only thing that's difficult is like when you bump into somebody and you go, "Oh, you like IPAs? Here's what you go get." Oh, you like Hefeweizen? Oh, okay. Well, you should get this. Oh, you like Box? This. Oh, try whatever. I think it was Fire Ant that was our throwback, right?
Yeah.
Like, try that. It's delicious. I don't know how many people I could approach and say, "Do you like rye ales?" And they would go, "Oh yeah, my favorite is whatever it is." I don't know how many people, but I could say, "Do you want something different? It's kind of IPA-ish. It's kind of sourish. It's kind of a mix of both worlds. You kind of have to kind of try it to understand it." I would recommend this.
Yeah, I would say if you're a fan of sours, you would really enjoy this beer.
Yes.
For sure. So if you like sours and you're in the Conroe area or Houston area, I guess you could probably find it a lot of places. I recommend. I would buy it again. It's not a shelf sitter for me.
No.
Um, very much a very good beer
It did not
all
let me
around.
down by any means. I what really I want to ask
Just
Southern Star is how is it physically capable to have that on the nostril and that on the tongue? Because
this
I
is
have
one I
never experienced that in my entire life.
this
I
would
don't.
have
It's
been
not like a good thing or bad thing, but fuck, how did they pull
no.
that off?
This would have been a beautiful beer to do in person at the brewery with the brewmaster at hand so that we could
Dude,
ask him like what happened. It's not a bad thing. It's delicious, but it's like what is going on?
also too, just to hear his take, I feel like maybe if the setup would have been different. We did the research on the beer, obviously. We got some background on it. We understood what we could of ryes. We understood what we could of different things. But it still didn't make sense to our brain and to our mouth whenever we took it in. If we were sitting with him, could he have been like, hey, here's what you're going to experience? And then we drank it and we were like, oh, I
Yeah,
get it. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
It
Like
could have
that would have been the
could have
change, the deciding factor.
very much affected the scores for sure.
Mhm.
All right, well, we have gotten to that point in the podcast where I'm going to tell you to go follow us on social media on Twitter and TikTok at Off the Tap Pod, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Off the Tap Podcast.
So no poem this week, but I will leave you with a little bit of homework. So we talked a lot about Disney films over the past hour and change. Um, your homework is to create your own Mount Rushmore and leave it in the comments when we post on all of our social media. So what are the 4 films that you feel make up the Mount Rushmore of Disney? We're not going to knock you for going live action. We're not going to knock you for going old school, for new school. Just put the 4 films that you think are the Mount Rushmore of Disney films in all of our social media comment feed.